number 8 of my weight loss journey. If weight loss is not the right topic for you, please pause and skip along to another episode. I'm going to assume you've been along on this journey. You know what we're talking about, and this is not your first episode with me. So here we go. Week number 8. I got to tell you, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert here. I gained a pound. I gained a pound. 7 weeks down to this week. I gained a pound. I will tell you about that. And yes, I know, you know, and this makes me very happy that we know it's no big deal. We knew this day was going to come. We know weight loss is never a straight line down. We know we are biological human beings, and there's so many factors besides just a number on the scale. And we know. For me, 1 pound is just over 0.5% of my body weight. It's nothing. But this is where we get our panties in a bunch and we get all freaked out when the scale's like, oh my gosh, I did all this work and the scale didn't comply. Yeah. So I want you to know I did gain a pound this week, because when I tell you what I did, I want you to be able to filter through and say, oh, this is exactly what happened. All right. First of all, at the end of last week, I was feeling a little bit like braggy. And you know what? I'm super proud. I'm super proud of the fact that in the first 7 weeks, I made it down 15 pounds. Like, that's awesome. And I cringe a little bit saying that because the way I was raised in my upbringing is taught me very, very strongly that humility is so important above all, and pride cometh before the fall, and all this stuff that just messes with my head and makes me kind of sucks the joy out of actually being proud and owning the fact that, you know, I am empowered. I can do things. I can take control of my life, and I'm doing it. And that's something I just want to own, unashamed, and just stand up tall and say, I'm excited, and I'm excited for me. I'm excited my body has healed. I'm excited that all this work over years and years to get my body in a place where I could do this is paying off. I do humbly, abso-freaking-lutely know that there is the possibility that I could have done all this work to heal my body and my body still wouldn't have decided to heal. I know that that happens. I am fortunate enough unfortunate that my body just didn't like completely heal and be perfectly pain-free all the time and no problems, no health issues at all. That is not me, but I've made huge, great gains, and I've done it intentionally, and I've made huge, great gains that would never have happened had I not done the work of really advocating for my health and making me a priority, getting myself into a spot where I'm not as stressed out, getting myself into a spot where I can really care for me so that I can do a better job at caring for others in my life. So there's the thing. Last week, it was like, wow, what was it last week? Did I report? I'm going to look at this. Hang on. Let me put you on pause. 1 moment. Yes. Last week, it was a 2.4 pound loss, which for me is a lot. I really should be more like 1 to 2 max pounds in a week. 2.4 was a lot. So it could be my carbs were a little bit low. It could be I wasn't adding more food for the more exercise I was doing, which I'm totally fine with that. Could be a lot of things. So let's take a look a little bit more about what happened this week. Yes. So week number 8 was the week that I became an empty nester. Yes. So at the end of this week, we'll just talk through it. So the last week 1 through 7 have been really what I would call very, very food safe weeks. Not much going on in my life, 0 travel, pretty much control of what's on in my kitchen, not cooking for family. I don't have little kids that want their chicken nuggets and, you know, mommy, I need this and this and this. Life really has not been very stressful. The weather's warmer. I'm hitting a hot tub every single day. It's really nice. Week 8 comes. Thursday, my son and I go visit a college together. and I decide, I want this lifestyle thing. It's got to be sustainable for me. It's got to be, let me think of another word for sustainable. It's got to be something that makes me happy and not sad. There we go. It's got to be something where I do not have to obsess over food. I can just simply live my life. So I thought, you know what? I've been totally rocking this weight loss thing. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling strong. My nutrition's dialed in. So I'm going to do this 2-night trip with my son, and I'm not going to pack any food. I'm going to just do a quote unquote normal trip. I'm going to eat from the continental buffet or the buffet breakfast at the hotel room. I'm going to eat from the restaurants. I'm going to do the drive-through, and we're just going to see how it lands, how it happens. So here we go. One of the meals we did, I took my son to the old spaghetti factory, which is a place he loves to go to. He's a pasta boy, like most kids, right? Some kids, when they say they're vegetarian, they're not actually a vegetarian. They're a pastatarian. But this was his trip, his college thing. So I'm going to take him to the spaghetti factory. I'm going to get me something. So I go through the menu, and I decided I am not going to just get, who cares? I'm not going to get a stupid salad. I'm not going to just starve myself with a cold, stupid salad. I want to actually get a meal here. Thankfully, Spaghetti Factory does have their calories posted on their menu. It's usually really tiny fine print at the bottom of each item, but it's actually really super helpful because I can scan through and see what the calorie content is of some of these. And I was able to order something that I really liked, and it was actually really good. It was their marsala, chicken marsala. So it was pasta. Half of the plate was pasta. The other half of the plate was the plate was chicken with the sauce on it. It was yummy. It was warm. It was 1,000 calories. So when that plate first came to me, I just cut it in half and thought, okay, I'm going to eat the bottom half of my plate and just see how I feel, because I knew from my tracking before, I knew 500 calories, plus I ate a slice of bread, plus I had a cup of minestrone soup, which I knew from the menu was another 100 calories. I knew that 700 calories I knew that should theoretically more than fill me up. So I did that, and I ate, I shared a scoop of Spumoni ice cream with my son, and it's so fun. You bring kids to stuff, and kids, he's not a kid. He's almost 20. I have to remind myself that. You bring him to a place and they're like, what's Spumoni? And it's just so fun. So we shared a scoop of Spumoni ice cream. Thankfully, he's not a huge ice cream eater, so that actually helps me because he's like, no, I don't really want my own whole dessert. Let's just share a scoop. So that was a supporting function. So split it in half, ate half. I was great. I was not only great, I was full. I was not only great and full, but I had the whole second half of the meal that I got to put in a box for another day. Never mind the fact that I forgot it in the hotel room and, it probably ended up in a dumpster. But I was totally great. Put in that meal, my sodium for the day was double of what it should be. My fat for the day was through the roof. My fiber was not as good as it should have been. There we go. But I did it. I owned it. There we go. All right. Next. Over the first 2 days of our traveling, we did do 2 drive-thrus. One was a burger and the other one was a turkey burger. I do not recommend Burgerville's turkey burger. It tasted a little like cardboard. But you know what? It actually was not that bad. It was not that bad. It was more balanced, but still my sodium was through the roof. My fiber was not what it should be. But my hunger was pretty well fine. Okay, then breakfast at the hotel. So this is one of your typical little Marriott hotels or big Marriott hotels where they have that breakfast buffet where they've got Danishes, bagels, eggs, bacon, sausages, yogurt, fruit. It's just one of those, juice, fruit, all those things. So I thought, okay, I'm going to eat a perfectly reasonable breakfast. I'm not going to overdo it here because I know I got a lot of dining out ahead of me. So I get my plate and I tell myself, okay, I'm going to just full on skip the Danishes. That was actually easy for me to do because my palate 2 months in has really dialed into not craving that. So thank God for that. I'm like, okay, these scrambled eggs look a little plastic, but I know they're not plastic, they're eggs. But I'm like, I'm going to get a scrambled egg, got a couple sausage links, and I only got about 1 egg worth of eggs, couple sausage links, got myself an English muffin. I put cream cheese on one half of the English muffin. I put peanut butter on the other half of the English muffin as an attempt to kind of balance out a little more fats and proteins, getting that right. And I got just a little bit of fruit, maybe a half a cup of cut fruit. Skip the yogurt, skip the orange juice, skip any of the syrup, skip the pancakes. I don't think there were pancakes. I wasn't even looking. Oh, and I got a small scoop of potatoes, very small scoop of potatoes. Totally reasonable, completely reasonable. 900 calories, 709. I don't know. It was ridiculous. Sodium again through the freaking roof. So I'm like, oh, no wonder why. If you eat out all the time, you could very likely end up with hypertension or high blood pressure because I'm eating out. I'm not even doing the French fries. I'm not adding extra salt. And my sodium was literally 2 and 3 times what it should be. That with the carbs being a little higher, that alone can make the weight skyrocket. So then on the second day in the afternoon, my son likes sushi and so did I. And I was like, no more burgers. We're done with that American fare. And we got sushi and that was actually lovely because I got what did I get? A salmon tartare. Yeah. And I ate a little bit of his sushi roll. Super yummy. And it all just tasted good. So when the scale goes up by a pound, the scale actually went up by 3 pounds. But by the time I had to weigh in, the scale had gone down to only 1 pound gain. This is where we have to smash our scale and we have to look at what we're doing overall, what we're doing long term. Do I regret dining out? Do I wish that I had packed my meals in a cooler and eaten only what I brought from my home and didn't do the dining out, or packed my own meals and instead of ordering that chicken marsala, I got the salad instead? Do I wish I did that? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Not at all. Because remember, this isn't the pursuit of die hard skinny at all costs. This isn't the pursuit of making myself miserable. This is the finding a way that works for me and makes me happy, makes me at peace. Maybe that's more what I'm going for, is more at peace. So I can just know how to live, how to order. I can know I can go on a trip. I can do some ordering. I know the scale's going to go root a little bit. But it's okay. Now, if I was a road warrior and traveling all the time, this would be something I would definitely want to dive into and dissect a little bit more and really get to know what can I eat, where, and when, and in order to make that sustainable. Because those 3 days, they might have been sustainable calorie-wise, but nutritionally wise, I really wasn't getting like nearly what I was getting at home. So that's an important, piece for me. Then I'm asking myself the question, at what point do I get to take off the training wheels and quit tracking and feel like I'm just living and not worrying about eating in a way that's not healthy for me? Yep. Yeah. So for me, one of those things is, in order to not track, I really have to really have a good sense of what are good, safe meals for me. And as a 50-year-old woman, this looks different than as a 20-year-old young woman. It looks very different, actually. What I know, we all look back and we're like, man, what I could eat when I was in my 20s. Oh, if I only knew how good I had it. So now in my 50s, got to readjust it. I'm sure in my 70s, it's going to have to readjust again and again and again. So I am looking at, what are my breakfasts? What are my lunches? I have discovered a safe meal that I love when the weather is warm, and that is this. For my lunch or my dinner, I have a pasta bowl. I love eating out of pasta bowls. I have a pasta bowl, and basically I've learned that I can put in this combination of ingredients and it makes a wonderfully balanced meal that I actually enjoy. Okay, here it is. And I can mix it up all different kinds of ways. Pasta bowl. I put in a bunch of greens. Doesn't really matter how much. 4 ounces of meat. Lean meat is better. I usually go for chicken. Any kind of meat, about 4 ounces. 100 grams of fruit. So a handful of grapes or a handful of berries. That's usually what I go for. Or a small to medium apple chopped up. And then a fat, either an ounce of cheese or a nice dollop of avocado. Either one, either or, not both. There we go. So, and then I take drizzle a little balsamic vinegar on it, salt, pepper. I not only love this, I look forward to it. I eat it. It fills me up. It makes me feel good. It doesn't weigh me down. I'm not hungry later. It keeps me satisfied. It's pretty darn awesome. So that's what it is. It's the lettuce, the meat, the fat, and the fruit. All together, little balsamic, and the fat, along with the meat and the fruit, makes it so you don't miss that oily, what is that thing called? Salad dressing. That's a safe meal. So I have some really great confidence that for at least the next 10 years of my life, or unless my health changes dramatically, I'm going to be able to have that be one of my go-to meals. And it can be a whole, gamut of different things. We'll talk more next week about the smoothies and what I'm doing there, because this whole Ninja Creamy thing, I'm still the thing that makes everything into ice cream. I'm still flirting with it, still playing with recipes. I've got about 12 recipes on my counter. I'm adjusting and playing with these recipes of what goes into the creamy, basically trying to take these recipes that have artificial colors and flavorings and sugars and make it into something that's not just kind of good for you, but actually really amazing and awesome for you. So I'm going to play with that a little bit more. Jury's still out on whether I should tell everybody to go buy a creamy. They're expensive. It might be a fad, but gosh darn, it sure is fun. And I'm loving feeling like I'm eating ice cream for breakfast. So yeah, a one pain gowned, a 1 pound gain, and I'm going to be fine with it. The last day of this week, I became an empty nester. I'm not quite ready to talk about it yet. I might cry. I'm okay. But next week I'll talk more about what it's like for me being an empty nester, the only one in my home after 20 years. Yeah. More than 20 years. Yeah. That'll be fun. All right. Let's take a look at our numbers then. We already know we had a 1 pound gain. Protein. My goal is to hover right around 100 with a bare minimum of 80, highest of 120. I came in at 97. That's actually pretty decent. And partly because every time I did go to a restaurant, I made sure I led with protein. Fat. I have always been wanting to keep it under 50 or no lower than 30, but getting to 50, it was at 63 average daily. So fat was a little high, not terribly high. If I ate cheese and French fries, that would have been tripled easily. Fiber. My fiber was it was too low, 16. I want it to be right at 20. Sodium. This is the interesting one. My average sodium has been significantly less than the 1500, which is the goal you want to keep it under. For me, this week I was above that. The average, not so horrible, 1730. But overall, week over week, I've been keeping that sodium a lot lower than the 1500. However, in just the 3 days, 2.5 days, when we went out and did all that dining, and I did reasonable dining, I made reasonable choices, I didn't go overboard with all of that. My sodium in those 3 days was almost double, 2,800 milligrams of sodium. And one day it was 3,200 milligrams of sodium. Yeah. So dining out in sodium, processed foods and sodium is a huge deal. And you don't even realize you're eating it because it's just the food tastes good and the sodium gives it more flavor. Okay. So that's the macros content. The scale, I started at 166.6, and we know we ended at 167.6 for a net gain of 1.0. I am perfectly fine with this because I made some choices where I knew the scale wouldn't go down as far, and the sodium was sky high, and my fiber was low. My carbs were a little high too. So we know that that's going to make the number on the scale go higher, even though I'm not necessarily gaining a pound of fat. When you look at my numbers more detailed, there's no way I did not eat enough food to actually gain another pound of fat. So I am going to assume that is some inflammation and some water retention. Time will tell. We will see. But the one stupid thing it did, this is where we got to watch out the scale. Remember last week, I made my 15-pound milestone. Gaining that 1 pound, I lost my 15-pound milestone. I am laughing at it because I know this is all at some point when we're splitting hairs, it becomes monkey math. And so it's just kind of dumb, and I'm just chuckling, and I'm really proud of myself that I'm not emotionally triggered by this because I am confident this next upcoming week. I'm, empty nesting. I've got total control of the food in my house. We'll see emotionally how I do being an empty nester. Oh yeah. And then we'll see if I get back down below that 15 pound mark yet again. So next week I am staying the course. At the end of the week, I have a hiking trip. So I will be doing both more exercise and more eating. And I will probably have a couple beers in there somewhere too. So that's going to be interesting. I'm also going to start thinking around my Washington, D.C. trip coming up, where it's 8 nights, 9 days of traveling and restaurant eating. Because this last just 2 days here was a little bit of a come to Jesus moment of, oh yeah, crystal clear, black and white. This is what dining out does. So I want to be able to really enjoy DC. I want to enjoy my food. But I don't want to go ollie oxen free. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time thinking about that and thinking about what is it that is going to be right for me. So I really, truly enjoy the trip, my time, myself, my heart, honor all of that, all in one package. Yeah, going for the Holy Grail. Alrighty, if you would like some help with a similar journey of your own, I'd be happy to work with you, dial in all your numbers, get you on a similar path. Head on over to couch2active.com. Reach out to me. My phone number's there, email's there, or you can just sign up for the package called My Best Self, and we can work together and get you rocking and rolling. Alrighty, friends, that's it. Couch2active.com. Until next week, we'll see you later.